Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MindTalks podcast. This is episode 9 with the man himself, MMA fighter, OG pod guest, and above all, one of my closest friends. We're here with Preston Gregory.
What's going on? It's been a minute.
It has been. Since our last podcast, which I think was like October, November, it's been
a fat minute.
It has been.
And then, we've been talking about this place ever since he came to Jits.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was kind of just like a dream of the making. And then, dude, put down the work, put in the sweat. Now we're here. This is much better than a laptop in your room.
Seriously, yeah. We went from a laptop in my bedroom recording on my 2015 MacBook that has a half broken screen to, which was terrible quality, no audio, like compared to this professionally done studio. Shout out to our man Ryan, who's also on the mic now.
What's up?
But yeah, it's been a dream come true for all of us, I think, with Preston. You know, for those who don't know, we are in Wisconsin, and Preston moved back to Washington, pursuing MMA full time.
Yeah.
And how's that been going?
It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it, as the crew always says. But it was definitely the best move. I think before I was kind of delusional, thinking that I was going to be able to pursue MMA full time as far as like my striking was going. I was progressing in jits pretty fast, but like as far as being a overall well-rounded MMA fighter, it just wasn't it. And like when I went out there for vacation, I came back and I was like, dude, I got to leave this place. And I felt like Wisconsin, I was just outgrowing it. And there wasn't not a whole lot of opportunities here for me. So I left, and now I'm part of Juggernaut. And I have a great coach and great teammates, and now we're just putting in the work. So, yeah, I don't know. It's different for sure. It's like, if I had to say one thing, it's lonely, bro. Mm. Like, it's just training and then me chilling by myself pretty much. Yeah. But it's worth it. There is no success without sacrifice. So I got to weigh my pros and cons and what do I really want.
Yeah.
So
real quick before we get more into MMA, so you were born in Washington.
Yeah, so I was born in Washington in the same city I'm at now. Mm-hmm. And then I moved because the job crisis happened and whatever. So we had to move to Georgia and then Illinois and then Wisconsin. And then, yeah, then I was like, you know what?
And then how long were you in Wisconsin?
Since sixth grade, and then I graduated high school, and then I chilled here for 2 more years, and then I was like, nah, it's not it. And that was a big thing too, bro. Like once you graduate, you'll realize you hate everyone you went to high school with.
Yeah. No, I know that.
It's yeah, seriously. I just saw people in public. They were like, "Yo, what up?" And I was like, "I don't want to see you here. Yeah. I don't want to see you anywhere." Like, no disrespect to anybody else, but I want to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. And then I felt like this place was just putting a limit on what I might putting a cap on my potential.
Sure.
So I left. But that's why I want you to come out once you turn 18, bro. That'll be sick.
The Parada House.
Yeah, seriously. But I know a lot of the guys on the team would love to have a house together and stuff like that, especially once we get more guys pro and everything. Mm. And we have some serious guys in there. My teammates are really, really good.
Sure.
And it's not like a Rufus type of place where it's jam-packed, but it's we have a core group of guys that are really good, and we care about getting each other better.
That's definitely what's important, I think, is that core group. I think a core group is way more important than 100 guys in the room because you benefit more, I think, when you have that. The people that know you, you know?
Yeah, 100%. My coach, gives a shit about me. Mm-hmm. We spent time on Saturdays where, and I know, my coach is busy. He has so many things going on, and, he still comes to the gym on Saturdays, and it's yo, let's watch film. And then we just watch film, and he's like, this is what you're doing wrong. And not being this is what you suck at, but being yeah, that's what we got to work on. And it takes my game to a whole new level. Even if we chill for 10 minutes after class and he's like, I want you to apply more pressure here and cut this angle here, I am able to put it into my sparring, and it's just a different level. Mm-hmm. But I definitely miss the jiu-jitsu days where we were just grinding it out.
Yeah.
But it's something I kind of had to do, you know what I mean? And coming back here, I definitely miss my boys and everything, but it's still I know nose to the grindstone, I got to get my stuff done. So, but so it is what it is. But the fight in August is all that's on my mind right now.
August 14th, the gunslinger himself.
Yes, sir.
Steps into kickboxing match.
Yeah. It'll be sick. I wish it was MMA, but MMA is outlawed right now, which kind of sucks. But I just love to compete. So whatever it is, they asked me, they were like, you want to do jiu-jitsu matches? I was like, I'm in. They were like, you want to do a Muay Thai? I was like, I'm in. They went kickball. I don't care. I'll do whatever rule set. I'm there. Like, that's all I care about. So, like, we had a couple where it was like, you could have a fight. And I was like cutting down to get ready, but it never happened. But this one's booked out, and like they posted it, like you saw, and you posted it too, which was sick. Yeah. So, but and then that guy posted it too and said all he had to say.
Yeah, scumbag opponent. Mike Lee, if you're listening to this, you know this man is about to decapitate you.
I won't say all that. Respect to everybody, but
no, I'll say it for him. You're about to get your head taken off August 14th. You're gonna be laying on that canvas dead.
It is what it is, but I mean, like, I never really thought, like, what somebody would say. Like, when people get emotional during fights, I'm like, how could you get emotional? It's just words. Like, they're just selling a fight or whatever. But when I saw that, it just, like...
It's personal.
It put something in me. I was like, he really thinks he's finna walk through me.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, I know the work I put in. And, I mean, you do, too. Like, we trained just me and you for a while. Yeah. So, like, we both know we don't shortcut. Yeah. So... It'll be sick. I'm excited.
I mean, if you've listened to episodes of this podcast before with Preston, you know sort of our background story. But for those who don't, we'll give it a quick rundown. So I moved to Wisconsin in July of 2020 and started training at Veneration BJJ, which is now Evolution BJJ in Burlington, Wisconsin. Shout out Professor Nick Riggle. And me and Preston were training together. We were drilling. And somehow we got into the conversation, and he said how he wanted to move down to Arizona to train with Sugar Sean O'Malley and Tim Welch, who at the time was like, who we both like loved, but we didn't know it until that moment. And we were like subscribed to their Patreon. We paid monthly to be in their Patreon and like all these different things. And we just somehow ran into each other. There was like 300 people in the world on the Patreon.
Yeah, seriously.
And we were two of them.
You're like, you're a Jobin?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was awesome. And from that point on, we basically grinded every day in my room, my backyard, the gym, everything. Just
we were sparring on concrete.
Yeah, we were sparring on concrete with no shoes on.
Yeah, seriously, with no shoes on, like not like straight concrete, like just ripping up our feet. And in our heads, we were like, we're not gonna get dropped, dude. It's impossible. So I'm not showing about it.
Why would we drop each other?
So, but I mean, that was crazy because that was like the foundation for everything. And I look back at those videos and I can't even watch it.
Yeah, it was terrible. Disgusting. But I'm so grateful for it because I think we've learned so much from it. And it's crazy seeing our progression over the span of a year with everything, with life, with philosophy. Like, that's why I'm glad we recorded the podcast, because we get to see where our mindset is compared back then to now. And it's just a whole new world.
Well, dude, like if we didn't lay the foundation of that, we wouldn't be where we're at now. Like if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have started my striking journey then. And who knows where I'd be at now. So it's like important to recognize those around you. Like I said, like I put in the work, but I wouldn't be able to if it wasn't for people like you, for people like Ryan, for people like Jeff, my coach, for people like Professor Nick. Like it wouldn't be for those people. So, I mean, obviously I'm like, yeah, I put in the work, but everyone around me gives me the knowledge and ability to do so, which is really important. So, because I remember you were like, yo, you trying to come over and strike sometime? And I was like, oh, shit. Like, yeah, I guess. And then we became boys. But it was more than that, too. Like, we didn't even talk about just MMA. It was like, what do you think about this that Tim and Sugar talk about? What do you think about this? Like, expanding our mindset and our mental more than just.
Yeah, like, you were the first friend, not even friend, the first person I ever met that really, like, understood the mindset I was in and
100%.
Understood where I was at mentally, because nobody else really understood where we were at. A lot of people still don't. Like,
no, dude, I know I can count on one hand how many people understand this, like the sacrifice and my mindset of why I do it. And it's like, you can't really explain it. Like if someone gets it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. Yeah. And I don't expect people to get it. Like when I talk about like when I give people advice, I'm like, hey, you might want to do this or this. Like I don't expect people to make all the same sacrifices I do. And I don't expect anybody to be perfect, because I'm sure as hell not perfect. I mess up all the time, like literally. And I hold myself to a really high standard. So like after we spar, I'll probably be pissed at myself. I'll be like, why did I get hit with that? That was literally like I've worked this 1,000 times. Why am I still messing it up type of thing? But I mean, that's part of the journey. My coach always tells me, he's like, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm going to be doing it for a long time anyway. So, but.
Yeah, it's like you have to look at some things over the span of like the course of that thing's life, and it's it's not so much like people say when you work out, if you miss a day, like, yeah, you missed a day for that week. But if you look at it over a span of 10 years, like, is one day really gonna, like, you have to live your life at some point too, you know?
But hey, that's not an excuse to cheat yourself.
No, definitely.
Just remember that. That's
stay
not
on your
excuse.
grind. And like we said in a podcast before, right? It takes confidence to take a day off. And it's true. It's just, you need to know, like, you're ahead of your competitors if you're able to comfortably take a day off.
Yeah. Not only that, like, being in tune with your body too, knowing like, hey, I need this.
Or with your mind too.
Yeah. It's hard for me to take a day off because, like, even if I do for a good reason, in my mind I'm like, dude, this is it. This is the downhill spiral. Like, you're going down. Even though it's just like, I just make myself feel guilty when I don't need to, which is like something I have to work on too. But like, I'll have a small injury that'll go away within a day or two and I need a day off. And I'll be like, oh damn, like, I got to be there. But I still go and like sit. Like, when I messed up my knee, I still went and sat and watched. So, but stuff like that, super important. So when are you going to go back to training?
Oh, bro. Yeah, really about to hit me with this. Where I'm at right now mentally, I'm like comfortable with where I'm at with pursuing like bodybuilding, content creation, apprenticing the genius himself.
Shout out.
Shout out. And I'm just so comfortable right now, and I don't feel the need to go back. If I feel the need, I'll gladly go back. Like, my membership isn't canceled, it's paused because it's like I don't anticipate never training again. I'm just comfortable in the position I'm at, and I don't want to ruin that necessarily. And I'm not saying that going back would ruin it. It's just, it's a whole unknown, you know?
Yeah.
So once I feel the need to go back, I think that's when I'm finally going to go back. But for those of you that don't know, I was going to make a separate video on it, but I guess I can just touch on it really quick.
Sorry for
no, you're
just
fine.
putting it all out there.
I haven't been to an MMA gym in like 2.5 months. I haven't trained. I've solely just been working out, grinding in the gym, learning everything I can about fitness, nutrition, diet, everything, supplements. I'm working on starting a clothing brand, Dirty Boys Apparel. Drop is going to be coming soon. My goal is August or September, but that could vary. But regardless, drop is coming soon. I've been, like I said, learning from Ryan about everything with content creation, recording, photography, editing, all this, and that's what I want to pursue, and I just love what I'm doing with that right now. So that's the path I'm taking. I've paused fighting. It's still a huge part of my life. Talk to Preston about it every day. Watch it. I'll watch all the stuff, study it, watch fights, break down film, all this stuff. It's still a huge part of my life. I'm just not actively doing it right now. And I might make a video further explaining that and where I'm at over the course of a couple months because, like I said, it's constantly changing. It's a battle I sort of deal with every day because I feel a guilt. It's like I feel guilty to myself for not training, you know?
Yeah.
With all the sacrifices that I've made, that we've made, training on concrete, like I don't know. I feel like I owe it to myself to see it through, but I also am really happy with where I'm at right now and have a genuine happiness. So I just want to see.
I mean, that's what matters, bro. Like, I mean, I think your potential as far as MMA goes is limitless. I mean, I think it isn't anything because you really like when you want something, it's like everything. You know what I mean? I'm kind of the same way where it's like I'm either all in or I'm all out.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Like, I'm not half in, half. Like, if you say something, you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? Type of thing. So I think, like I said, your limit is endless as far as MMA, but like it's also a sport where if you don't want to be there,
it's unforgiving.
Yeah, like you have to be on the ball always or you're going to pay the price. I mean, in saying that, you have like, it's important to have good training partners that aren't going to like smash your head in when you're not on the ball, but like it's important, like even if you're just doing basic takedowns and you're like not paying attention, bang, your knee can blow out and then you're out for a year type of thing. So
especially with the amount of sparring that we do and stuff like that.
You know, I mean,
you have to be on and you have to be all in, and that was a big part of me. Like we said, we're either all in or we're all out, and I don't want to be half in, half out, because half in, half out is the difference of not getting injured or getting concussed.
Yeah, or just wasting your time. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, if I'm not fully into something, I'm probably going to be wasting my time because I have to be all into something to get good at it. Otherwise, I'm just like, meh, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So, Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think you should go back, but like on the flip side, if that's how you feel, like I'm not gonna be like, go back, dude.
No,
like,
yeah.
So, and I know you're still like grinding even if you aren't there.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna do nothing now. Like you're here with Ryan, like continuously learning, whether it's in fitness, which is an industry that will never go away. Hence why I'm getting my personal training certificate and all that kind of stuff. So, still good stuff all around, no matter what.
Yeah, and it's like I said too, it's always going to be a part of my life, and it's brought me so much over the last 2 years that nothing else could have possibly brought me. And without MMA, I wouldn't have found Sean, O'Malley, and Tim, which I wouldn't have gotten into this mindset that I learned from them, and I wouldn't be inspired to start a podcast. So I wouldn't even be sitting here recording this podcast if I didn't have MMA.
Yeah,
so
and not everything's meant to be permanent either.
Yeah.
Like especially like people, like everyone's so set on like this person has to be in my life forever. Like, nah, things can just come and go and teach you lessons.
Yeah,
I've had plenty of things like that. I mean, for me, like training in MMA is for me, I feel like will always be there, but like other things just come and go, which is totally fine. But like you said, we still talk about MMA and like shit every day.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't remember the last day we didn't talk about it. So it's never like out of your life, especially because you still watch it and you're like, yo, check out this clip. This is sick.
Yeah. Temporary experience can cause long-lasting lessons.
Permanent changes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, the lessons you learned in the training room with me and at Rufus and stuff, they'll never leave. That
For
stuff's
sure.
forever. So,
Yeah.
No matter what, it wasn't a waste of time, even if you never go back. But
even like it gives you lessons that applies to everything too. Like, never be last in anything. Always push yourself. Always be the best version of yourself you could be. Always do everything 100%. Like, all these lessons, don't give up. Don't get up when you get knocked down. Like, all these lessons that you learn from fighting translate into literally everything in life.
The best lessons I've learned is being, like while I'm stuck in a triangle for 30 seconds, I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, I'm about to go out type of stuff. So, yeah. And also, like, there was this, Tim Walsh talked about it on the Sugar Show, but they talked about I forget what theory it's called, but basically, like, when you don't do something, you think you're way better at it than you actually are.
Mhm.
Like, you overestimate how good you're going to be at it. And, like, doing jiu-jitsu or any form of martial art will pretty much wipe that away. And then you're like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Mhm.
And it kind of gets rid of that whole period.
It's a reality check.
Yeah,
for
literally.
Sure.
Like, humbled for sure. So.
Yeah, since I started fighting, it's like I look at people differently. Like, you don't know who knows what.
Yeah, literally.
There's and if you walk into a jiu-jitsu gym, an MMA gym, there's people from all walks of life. There's skinny, short people. There's big people. There's tall people. There's small people. There's all different races.
I mean, there's guys that are 5'6.5" and look like they're 12 years old. Like, you never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah.
But dude, like, I look back at pictures of me and you standing next to each other in line, and we look like different humans.
I
Mainly
know.
you, because you've grown like a ton, like as far as height and like thickness, bro. But it's wild.
No, we have aged and just progressed in everything. It's insane.
And it hasn't even been
to see.
that long.
I know. It hasn't been more than a year.
Yeah, which is what makes me think, like, for people that don't know anything about MMA, they're like, going pro, like making it somewhere, like that's out of the question, because all they know is like stuff like the NFL where it's like you get one shot and that's it. But like, if I progress at the rate that I have consistently, dude, like in my mind, there's nothing that's gonna stop me except me.
Oh yeah.
So that's the way I look at it, and I'm always just looking to evolve, whether that be mindset or physical. But my new coaches and stuff have brought me like to a whole different level. So it's awesome, really. But that's all I'm looking for.
What's your mindset going into this fight? What's going through your mind with it? What are you thinking? Any predictions? Any early predictions? What are we thinking?
I mean, I bet the dude's tough. I've seen some of his like pictures and stuff like that. And I mean, I bet he trains hard. I bet all this stuff, but I know me and I know what I'm capable of, and I know the potential that I can perform at. So to me, I'm not really worried. Do I underestimate the guy's ability? No. I expect him to come in there and be an absolute beast. But I also know who I train with, and I know who I train under, and I know how hard I train. So therefore, I have the confidence going in there. That being said, when they posted the picture a couple days ago, for like immediately my heart started beating faster, and I was like, yo, I got to go train right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, whatever, when I get back, we'll
real.
get back to it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I've wanted this for so long.
Yeah,
and
we've
now
talked about it for so long.
Dude,
We've
yeah,
manifested
seriously.
it into something
and I put
crazy.
in like so much work for it. So now it's time to go out and perform and, like do what I want to do and do what I do best. So
people think fighting is the hard part, but it's in reality,
no.
you earned that fight.
Yeah,
like,
no.
you have to earn that fight,
Crew always says, he's like, train hard, fight easy. And I'm going to get pushed I know they're going to push me in training harder than this guy's going to push me in the fight.
Yeah.
And that gives me the comfort going in knowing
Hear
that. Yeah, that gives me the comfort going in knowing like this guy's not going to be able to do anything to me that my training partners are like haven't already.
Yeah, for sure. That's like the whole idea with like the spider that City Kickboxing does with like every Sunday or something. They do this crazy like gauntlet of training, and Israel Adesanya said how it's like it's way harder than any fight he's ever been in, and that's like what he accredits like success to, because when you're pushed harder in training than the actual fight itself, what can stop you in a fight?
You're not going to see anything you haven't seen. You know what I mean? So, you got to push that hard in training, and you see it in guys that haven't been pushed to that level yet. Which, granted, in saying that, like it's only going to get harder. Like Corey Sandhagen said, like I know that, like it's only going to get harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
Like it never, like it doesn't make sense for the guys to get better and it gets easier. Like it's only going to get harder. So, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Like when he said it, I was like, oh damn, I never thought about that. Like that kind of sucks. But I mean, I'm comfortable with that idea. Like,
because as it gets harder, you're also progressing too.
Oh, dude, like I think like my training schedule and everything now is completely different than back then. And I used to think I worked hard back then, and now I see it now, and I'm like, holy shit.
What's your training schedule looking like? What's a normal training day for you, for Preston?
Well, I'll take you through a week. So
Perfect,
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I usually get there at like 3 or 4, depending on the day. And then sometimes I hit cardio early, but now that we have like fight team practices going, I usually don't. So sometimes I sit in the sauna for an hour just to kind of get some sweat going. And then at 5, we start our beginner Muay Thai, but I always go just because it never hurts to work on your beginner skills. And then I'll kind of help out with some of the beginner guys too. And then we do advanced Muay Thai. We do advanced Muay Thai at 7, and then we start beginners at 5. So we do that for another hour. And then after that, we do fight team practices, and those go for whenever we say stop or whenever crew says stop.
So you get there at 3-ish, you said?
Yeah, so I'm usually there like 5-6 hours on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then Tuesday, if I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I'll be there longer, but like right now where it's just kickboxing, I don't want to go and grapple and get hurt.
Yeah.
And then not even grapple in my fight. So
pulls guillotine. And
literally. So right now, like Tuesday, Thursday, I'll lift usually at night, but then I'll have a like hour or 2 of boxing and like maybe a little sparring if one of the guys on the team wants to stay late and spar or hit mids. So I'll usually be at the gym for 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll go lift. So like there's 2 in that day, and then on the weekends, one of those days I'll lift also. And then depending on how good the fights are, I'll get inspired to go do something else. So, yeah, and that's right now, and I know it's only going to get more.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm like conscious about overtraining because like I've overtrained before and it just crashes your body. So be careful about that.
And your mind too.
Yeah, seriously. My mind actually suffers more if I miss a session. Like overall, my mind is like, oh my God, like I said. So, but I love it. So, and then I got like the certificate that I'm working on so I can be a personal trainer. But other than that, I don't have a job right now, so I'm not like too booked up. But training's number one always. I don't miss sessions. Like people be like, yo, let's go do this. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
There is no question whether I'm going to be at the gym at that time. So like when I'm missing, people are like, where are you at? Like it's weird for me to be missing.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of what I'm all about. It's the same every gym I go. I don't miss. So
what's the lifting program looking like right now?
3 times a week, and then I'll do chest and tries, back and bis, legs and shoulders, which is a pretty solid split.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like when I lifted when I was back here, it was more like my training sessions weren't as long when I was at my jiu-jitsu gym, my boxing gym. But like now, so I was lifting 6 days a week where I would do those back to back. But now that I'm busier, I don't want to overtrain too much, so I only lift 3 times a week. And I'm not trying to get huge because like this fight's at 35, but later on I'm gonna go to 25. So like I don't have to put on a ton of muscle.
Yeah. What are you walking around at right now?
Like 45-ish. So like it's gonna be an easy cut.
Yeah.
Especially because I'll have like a month and some change to cut down on body fat, and then probably do a couple pound water cut, which I lose in a normal training session or in the sauna anyway.
Yeah, that's how I've always done mine too. Well, I do bigger water cuts usually, but still.
Yeah, you're also a lot bigger. Yeah,
Yeah.
you carry around a lot more water than I do. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm pumped. I'm ready. I don't
I'm
mind.
ready.
I don't mind.
Decapitation, August 14th, first round.
Yeah,
It's coming with that heat.
especially after I finish up like a sparring session, I'm like, let's go. I'm like, I'm ready right now. Like,
I feel like I'm fighting for you right now.
it's for real, bro. So,
I've seen you work so hard, and I've seen you want it so bad, and like even with just competing in jiu-jitsu, and you haven't been because of your shoulder. Back when we were
so
prime, every competition I do, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to compete? Like, hey, you gonna compete next week?"
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "No, I can't. I just want to let my shoulder heal up." And it's like I've seen you work so hard for it. I've seen us talk about it and work in my house, in the gym every day, and for you to finally get your like first shot, your first moment, I'm so happy for you. I'm so ready.
I appreciate it, man. And I definitely know some people in my life that aren't the happiest for me, that pretend to be. So like it is genuine. Like I feel it from you. Like you are happy for me, and it's the same way when you do good stuff too. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool, and it's awesome to have people that support me, no matter if I do good or bad. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm piped. I'm piped up. And we definitely have put in the work so much.
Definitely.
Especially with like diet and stuff outside the gym. Yeah. Not even just like, because there's a lot of people that do train hard, but then they get out of the gym, they're like, let's go drink and get fucked up. So, but that's not me.
We've never been those people.
Yeah, no,
We've never drank or anything like that. Like it's just.
I've had good times, but that was before I
before you got
committed.
Yeah.
Before I was like, this is what I want to do.
For sure.
So, and I mean, people are always like, you can have fun, you can do this. I'm like, I don't want to. For me, it's not it, man. Like,
it's not. I have this problem where people tell me like it's fun, or like I'll ask, why do you drink, right? And they'll say because it's fun. And to me, it blows my mind, because it's like fun to me is working hard at what I want.
Yeah.
Like when it was MMA, being fun would be going to the gym for a couple hours. Or right now, having fun is being here at the studio working on something, or going to the gym and working on myself. Like to me, doing something that does nothing but set me back benefits me in not a single way. Like how is that fun to somebody? You know?
I mean, like I get it to an extent. Like I don't judge anybody by how they live their life, right? Live however you want to live. I mean, the only time I'm gonna have a problem with it is if someone says something and does another thing. That kind of frustrates me, because I'm like, you're not who you say you really are. Yeah, but the people that are like, I don't care, I just want to drink. I'm like, cool, do your thing. I don't judge anybody for it. Like, do whatever you want to do. But as far as for me, like, if I'm doing something that doesn't make me better, I don't want to do it. Like, I have no interest in it.
The constant struggle I have is when it's people that are close to me, close friends, stuff like that, where I see them, when I have the outside perspective of doing things that I know don't benefit them, it just breaks my heart and and hurts my soul. And they're not in the same mindset we are. They don't have the growth mindset.
Yeah.
And trying to get somebody into a growth mindset that doesn't want to be in one is next to impossible.
Oh, dude, no, yeah, they just don't care. And even if they do come for advice, they're not going to use it.
No.
But, like, in saying that, like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm condescending in any fashion. Like, I only know this stuff, and I've only gotten this way from people that are way smarter than me.
Yeah.
I only owe this stuff to, like, people that have more knowledge and did it before me. So it's not like it's not like we're groundbreaking, you know what I mean? We heard the right things at the right times, and we implemented them.
We just happened to find our people, our people that are in the same mindset as us. We just happened to find that at an early age. I mean, I found it truly when I was 15, and you were probably, 18-ish?
Yeah, like just turned 18.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like, look at this place. This place is kick ass.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I was just like, yo, what up, Wheeler? Like, what's good?
Mm.
And now we're here. And he crushed it, man. This place is sick. Yeah. This place is way cooler than I ever imagined it was going to be. And just to think that the gym was what all brought us together, and now we're here is pretty insane.
It is. We came from all different walks of life. Like you said, you were born in Washington. I lived in Illinois, and I was in Chicago, then moved to the suburbs. Ryan's lived all over the globe.
This man's just
essentially.
rocked out everywhere he went. Like,
this man's just trotting all
pro
over.
couch surfer for a solid decade.
hell yeah.
And to think that one day the three of us ended up in the same room, like the same jiu-jitsu room. You know how many rooms in the world there are? And the three of us ended up in the same room.
It's insane. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens that I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like, and even if you went back a year or two and you were like, this is what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
I would be like, bullshit.
Mhm.
I'd be like, no way. There's not a chance. Considering like when I graduated high school, I was like, yeah, I just want to go to Gateway over there and like get my degree in what was it? Whatever, to be a cop. Like whatever. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a cop.
Criminal justice.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Now I have CTE. But anyway, so I was going to get my degree in criminal justice, and then I did like a couple classes, and I was like, I hate this.
Mhm.
And then I dipped out on that idea.
Fuck the law.
Yeah, exactly. And then I started training jiu-jitsu, and I was like, this is it, man.
Mhm.
And it wasn't real until we started training together. Like, it wasn't like, I was always like, yeah, it'd be cool to be a fighter or whatever. But it wasn't like real until you were like, let's train. And then you're like, this is what I want. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
you can actually do this? And then people around me were like, yeah, this is a real thing. You can pull this off. I mean, there's always small-minded people that are like, impossible.
Yeah.
You're not that guy.
Those people that just make me want to curb stomp.
Yeah, I can't stand being around negative people. Like, and I have my moments where I'm like, but like, it's all about like a why not mindset, right?
Mm.
Like, you can be like, well, why me? Why would I be able to do this? Why not? Why couldn't I do this? Why would I not be able to pull this off? You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just all about perspective, right? So like, I could go out to Washington and my perspective could be, oh, well, I'm kind of lonely when I'm not at the gym. Like, I don't have anybody. Or I could be like, yeah, this is what I have to do to get the job done. Like, it's my perspective and I choose my perspective, right?
And perspective changes so, like, on a dime, too.
Oh, dude, sometimes I have the worst perspective and I'm like, shut up, to myself. Because, like, it's not always your choice. You know what I mean? Like, some people, including me, like, have thoughts that aren't necessarily my choice, but I have to work on that myself.
For
So
sure.
I'm going to consciously make the correct choices.
I face that sort of battle right now with like insecurities on certain things where I'm like very insecure on certain subjects and I'm self-aware that I'm insecure about them.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And as I'm taking it out on this person that causes the insecurity, they don't cause the insecurity, but the insecurity is towards.
Yeah.
It's like in my head, I'm like, why am I like this? Like, there's no need for me to be like this. And it pisses me off more than anything because I'm consciously saying I shouldn't be like this, but I'm still doing it and I just can't stop it. And it's like I'm fighting that battle right now of like the perspective of it, of getting out of that insecure little bitch mindset and just getting into like
It's hard.
It
And I
is.
mean, like, I'm insecure about plenty of things, right? But the only way to fix it is to go head on into it, right? So like, I've always struggled with like putting on mass in the weight room and stuff like that and like getting bigger and having the physique that I want. And like, you see me, bro, I've been like cut before, right? Where it was like, I have no body fat, but I don't have a ton of muscle either. So it's hard for me to get to that stage. So I was like, whatever, I'll get the best guys that I know as far as weightlifting and I'll work with them. And I'll go in there and I'll be like, teach me everything you know. Not necessarily like right there, but like, you know, take me under your wing and show me what you know. And like, let that insecurity turn into one of my strengths. And obviously I have a long way to go and I do with all my insecurities and I'm not perfect by any means, but it's a constant battle. You know what I mean?
Insecurity is a bitch to deal with.
I mean, some insecurities you'll never fix. I'm 5'6.5". Boom. Like my choice wasn't to be a 125er. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I had a choice, I'd be at like 55 with like those dudes because that's like the dopest division.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, and it's crazy how everybody's insecurity varies too. Like you said, your body dysmorphia comes when you think you're getting too fat, right?
Yeah.
And mine is I think I look too skinny.
Yeah, it's
like,
total opposites,
it's
but
the
it's
total
it's
opposite.
Still so severe either way.
But
you know what I mean?
we feel the same thing, but towards different things, and it's crazy how that works too.
Yeah, I think it's how we're brought up too, because like I was like chubbier until I found jiu-jitsu and stuff, and I was like, oh, I should probably not be eating this garbage.
Yeah.
And then I cut down, and like once I got abs for the first time, I was like, we made it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, this is it. That's what's up. And then I was like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, so now like. And it's hard too because once you get down to such a low body fat percentage and then you go back up, your body like turns a lot of it into fat because it's like, oh shit, we don't want to do that again. So like that happens to me a lot. And like I said, with such like I'm not a very strong guy or a very big guy, so like I don't have a whole lot of muscle mass that helps me burn off the calories. So it's just a constant battle. So it's like, okay, I can either perform good and not look as good, or I can look better but perform like shit.
Yeah.
So should I let my insecurity take over and make me perform like shit? That's a dumb idea.
Mm.
So I'll look what I consider worse and what other people consider like. Some people are still like, dude, I wish I had your body, and I'm like, I'd trade you right now.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'll trade somebody right now and then just cut off some fat and be good.
This dude's calves and quads are genetic gifts.
Hey, everyone has that. Everyone has their genetic gifts. You know what I'm saying? Like I know a lot of people from high school that were like really fat, and I see them now. I'm like, dude, you're diced. What happened, bro? Like that, and I'm like, that's badass, and that kind of stuff inspires me too. I'm like, if they can do stuff like that, and like we talked about before, I don't necessarily love everyone I went to high school with, but like I don't want to see any of them doing bad.
Yeah, and
like,
that's
I love to see them doing good, and I know some people from high school that like slide on my DMs when I post stuff that I was never like boys with, but they're still like, yo, this is dope, and like that kind of positivity is just. It's next level.
Yeah, and it's such a great mindset to be in. And me and Ryan talked about this in our podcast last week. Is it's looking at people as not looking at them as your competition, but like collaboration, and just being happy for others is such an important mindset. Instead of like, I don't want them to do good, so it makes me look better. That just makes you look worse. It's so counterproductive. Instead of just being happy for everybody, because I think it makes you more secure, which ties back into the insecurity thing. Is just being open and being happy for everyone and trying to be in that positive mindset and looking at things not so closed-minded. I think that's also a key to getting rid of insecurity too.
Yeah, well, it's all just like being afraid. Like if you see competition and you get mad, you're just afraid that you're not going to make it because they are, right? So like when Ryan walked in and he was like, yo, I want to do a podcast. Like I'm going to set up a whole studio and it's going to be banger. Like you could have been like, well, I'm doing a podcast and I don't want him to do good. But instead you were like, yo, let's collaborate and make something even better. Yeah. So like that kind of thing that you guys talked about last time too is just like it's also next level. Like,
and that's definitely what happened, because if I would have seen what he was doing and gotten jealous and been like, well, why the fuck can't I do that? Or
exactly.
Why is he doing it? And I cut myself off from him, I wouldn't be in the position I'm at now with being able to record in here and learning from him. And you know, he's taught me more than almost anybody. I mean, you and Ryan together, like collectively, have taught me more than any other human on this planet. And it's like, if I would have gotten jealous because you wanted to be a fighter and I wanted to be a fighter, and then you wanted to do the podcast and I want to do the podcast, and I was like, okay, I'm not talking to either of these guys, let me do my own thing, I'm missing out on 85% of my knowledge and my mindset.
Then you lose so many things. Yeah. And it's like, and we can take so much from Ryan because he's gone through all these experiences and like done all this dope shit. Yeah. And it's like, well, we can either be like, oh, that's whatever, I guess. Or we can be like, yo, that's dope. Tell me how you did it, and take some of his knowledge and use it for ourselves. Not like in that way, but like, you know, learning from him and taking the knowledge that he has.
Collaboration.
Like, you get a choice, you know, whether you want to be, you know, use that wisely or neglect it and cut yourself off and be afraid of failure. But I try to choose wisely, you know what I mean? I feel like everyone has jealous moments of people or whatever, but then you have to check yourself and go, well, what is this? Like, why do I feel this way?
I think jealousy's, it's also important too, because I think if you're jealous about something, it means you truly want it in a certain degree. Like, if you didn't really want to be a fighter, would you really care if somebody else wanted to be a fighter? But also, vice versa, at the same time, it's like, if you're faking it, you could also get mad because they're the real thing and you're the fake version.
And there's a lot of people faking it. There's a lot of people faking it.
There is. There's a lot. It's like, I'm pretty big on authenticity, and it's just, I'm the same person on the podcast that I am in real life. I'd like to think I'm honestly probably a little bit more outgoing in real life than I am on the podcast, just because it's a lot different when you have a conversation in front of the microphones and, like, you know, there's going to be people listening.
Yeah, it changes up a little bit.
It does, but
talk about insecurity amplifiers. You got bright lights and high definition cameras.
I mean, this is like, we're setting ourselves up for, like, we're being so open to scrutiny, and like, I mean, I guarantee there's people that watch the podcast and like see our stuff on Instagram and they're like, fuck those dudes. But like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter to me, because like, if I'm not coming to someone for advice, I don't care what they think about me. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, if I don't care what you have to say, it's positive, I'm damn sure not going to care what you say if it's negative. Yeah. So like, it just doesn't really mean anything to me. Like, I mean, there's people that see my Instagram clips and they're like, oh, he only posts the good clips. Like, he only posts the stuff of him looking good. And it's like, I mean, relatively true. Like, I'm not gonna post anything
Yeah,
where
I'm
I'm
not gonna
like,
post me getting knocked out in the gym.
yeah, I'm not gonna post anything of me like fucking my training partners up, because best believe a lot of my training partners fuck me up.
Yeah,
They're way better
yeah.
than me, which is super important. But like, I'm also not gonna post boring stuff. You know what I mean? So like, I post that stuff, but then also in my group chats, it's me getting like all the funny clips too.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, if you want to market yourself and market like and like show kind of like what you're about, like you're gonna post cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not me being like, look at how much better than I am look at how much better I am than my team. Like, I would never say anything like that. Like, that's not who I am. And that's why I moved, because I was going to a gym, not Veneration, but a different gym where I was just like, this is like, I'm the only guy here taking it serious.
Yeah.
So I moved to where other people were taking it serious, and you are who you hang out with, and you are who you train with.
Yeah.
So I started training with bad motherfuckers, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm all about.
Something we always talk about too is like how we always lose followers when we post stuff of us being successful. Like, every time I post something, I feel like I lose followers if it's something that benefits me, because people just hate to see you win so much, and that just, it ties into being fake, and also insecurity, which is a common theme in this episode. I feel like it's just insecurity, and I just bring it up because we always mention it. We always talk about it, how every time you post a clip, you lose followers. And
it's like, it doesn't really bother me, because I'm like, this is my page, so I'm going to post what I want. Like, but it's also just like, it's just funny, because it's like, if I post a picture of me drinking, they're going to be like, fucking sick, bro. But then if I post a picture of me like working my ass off and getting the things that I worked for, it makes certain people feel a type of way to where they unfollow me, which is fine. Like, and I unfollow people where, like, even if I don't want to see someone's stuff, I'm just going to unfollow, whether it's like good or bad, which if that's the case, that's fine. But I do know people that screenshot and screen record my stuff and then send it to group chats and talk shit, which is fine. But I mean, like,
it's fuel.
And my friends are like, dude, confront them about it. And I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah.
They're going to talk shit regardless. Why would I use my energy to confront them? And that's a big thing, is like using your energy. You know what I mean? Like, you only have a certain amount of energy.
Yeah.
So where am I going to put it to make it the most useful? Am I going to put it into somebody who just talks shit? Doesn't really affect me? No. I'm going to put it into my team and training hard and watching film with them and that kind of stuff.
People that benefit you.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the great thing about my new team too, is like they're willing to put the energy back. And they see, like, it's like where they see me putting in the work, so they're going to put in the coaching time too, which is, I've told them before, I appreciate it so much. Like, it means the world to me, really. Yeah. So, yeah. And I mean, like, we did the same thing too, dude. Like, we matched energies, and then we started training hard, hard, bro.
We were like the only people that truly believed in what we were doing. Like, obviously there's, my family, and they always supported me and believed in what I was doing, but I don't think anybody understood that mindset until you came along, and we really understood our mindset on where we were at with the sport, with life, with the grind, and just the grittiness of what we were doing. It was so nice to be able to have that support from you, because you got it, you understood it.
Yeah, like, just evolving together. I still have people that are like, and people that mean a lot to me and are close to me, they just don't get it, and so they say backhanded stuff, and I'm just like, whatever, man. And it does hurt, like, when people that you do care about don't believe in you. But at the same time, it's like, I'm willing to bet on myself. When everyone is betting against me and the chips are stacked up, I'll roll the dice every time. And I feel like that's an important way to live life, just being able to bet on yourself. Because if you never bet on yourself, dude, you're going to play it safe the whole time. You're not going to do anything. Like, him moving all over the place and doing all this crazy things. Like, this place, like, he's gambling on himself here. Do I think it's a safe bet? Hell yes, because this kind of stuff is blowing up. But, like, he's rolling the dice on himself and taking that risk, which I think is, like, grand scheme of life. Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, do you want to spend your whole life working at a job that you don't give a shit about? Like, I don't want to do something I don't care about, because then my whole life is just something that doesn't matter to me. So I always just roll the dice on myself and say I'm going to do what I want to do.
Definitely. And you gain experience that way too. And again, going back to the last episode of the podcast, nothing's more valuable than experience, because let's say Ryan wanted to do the studio, right? And he didn't go through all the experiences that he went through. He's not going to have the stories, the knowledge, not even the money to put his best effort into the studio like he is now. Same thing with us, with fighting, with everything. Experience is such an important thing, because a lot of the times you think you're ready for something that you're not ready for, And it's not until you experience certain things that you really unlock that knowledge of, oh shit, I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, which is always like good too, like doing stuff you're not ready for. I'm not saying like jump into stuff you're not ready for, but like a lot of times you'll do stuff that you're not ready for, not like consciously, and it'll teach you stuff. Like my first jits tournament where I got absolutely demolished. I wasn't ready, but it taught me so much, and I was like, I'd love to compete. So stuff like that. But yeah, like experience also goes hand in hand with time, right? So like I think like my time is so important. I hate when people waste my time. Like, and I mean, I understand if someone's running late. Like today, I wasn't like, fuck Dom because he's running late. Like, it's fine. Like, I understand that. But like when people deliberately waste my time, that drives me nuts. I'm like, I can never get that back. I can get money back. I can get like monetary value stuff back. But like, I can never get my time back. Like it just won't happen. So, and I mean, I'm only 19, so I got time. But if I think like that, I'll waste it. So I know right now I have to use all my time wisely.
Yeah, you always think you have time until you don't have time.
Until you don't have time. You can have all the money in the world, you don't get more time.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. I mean, mortality is definitely a scary thought, but if you use your time wisely, one lifetime's enough, I think. So, especially if I live the way I think I'm going to live, I think it'll be enough.
You know where mortality comes into play? Mike Lee, August 14th. Round one, fatality, straight up.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's why I got Memento Mori tattooed on me. I mean, in Latin, it means remember you're going to die, like I said. So, like, every day I'm going to look down and be like, I'm going to die one day. So I better live like I'm going to, because otherwise I'll get to that end point and be like, damn, I didn't do the things I wanted to do. Which is why I think it's so sick that you're doing all this stuff. Like, you're wanting to start a clothing company, like a clothing brand, and you're doing stuff with the film and photography with him, like just doing things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And outside your comfort zone. Like you've done so many different things that you weren't necessarily like brought into it. You were just like, fuck it, let's try it.
It's just so important for me to have passionate things you're passionate about and to pursue those things that you're passionate about. I'd rather I love what I'm doing right now. I minus working at the grocery store, which is going to end soon because I hopefully have a job opportunity coming up where I could be doing what I want to do full time, which regardless if that's now or later, it's still going to happen. But so besides that, it's like I wake up every single day, like wanting to attack the day and wanting to work on my stuff, wanting to come to the studio and work on the clothing brand, draw up designs, learn from Ryan, or wanting to go to the gym, work on my body, all this stuff. Even just read, work on my mind, all these different things, just putting my time and my energy into myself and benefiting myself is what's most important to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end, like I talked about this with somebody, I think yesterday, but like at the end of the day, the most important person in your life is you.
Yeah.
And granted, that'll probably change when someone has a kid or whatever, but like you are the last person you're going to have, right? So like for me, and loyalty is huge for me. Like my friends, like I'll die for them, whatever. But like at the end of the day, you are the most important person in your life. So like if you're hanging around people that don't benefit you, you have to separate yourself, because then you're letting people drag you down. Which in saying that, you should definitely try to always bring your friends up. Like I've never been like, oh well, Dom made a mistake, so I better separate myself. Instead, like we check each other. We're like, yo,
for sure.
Yeah,
that's something I've always respected and been so grateful for in our relationship, is because we always check each other. We 100%. Never let something slide. We always point something out. Like even small things, you always post me a clip before you post on Instagram, and you're like, anything I should cut out, and I'll tell you if there is.
Yeah, you're like, take out that one too. That kind of
like,
which is good, because then I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't ask if I didn't trust your opinion. You know what I mean? But yeah, like we always keep it 100 with each other. Which sometimes I'm like, maybe I put that too rough, and then I'm like, yo, by the way, I say this because I care, and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's why I asked you about it.
I'm grateful for it, because I wouldn't ask you if like I said, you wouldn't ask me if you didn't value my opinions, and I value your opinion, especially if it's negative. I honestly value it more if it's negative, because that's what's going to benefit me more than just praising it if it's not the right decision.
100%. Like it's the same thing in the gym. Like if my coaches were like, you do everything perfect, man, I wouldn't get any better. I would make the same mistakes. I drop my hand in the same places. I wouldn't pivot properly. I wouldn't do this, that, and the third. But instead they go, hey, let's work on this. And I mean, granted, they're not like, you suck.
Yeah.
Which I do that to myself enough, so it's all good. But yeah, it's just important to hear, like it's obviously good to get praise, but you should definitely be focusing on the things you should work on more, rather than just like, what am I doing good? Tell me again. Like, So it's always a constant battle, but we've always been that way with each other, where we're like, yo, do this instead, or work on this.
And we figured that out like very early in our friendship too. Is it didn't even take that long to develop. Within like a month or two, we were like checking each other, like, all right, do this.
Yeah.
Like,
well, dude, like I'm a very confrontational person. Like I'll just say kind of what I think, and that has led to a lot of people not being my biggest fan, which is fine. I just think life's too short to kind of bullshit around issues. So I've always just kept it real, and then you didn't hurt your feelings. You were like, good point. So it just immediately kind of clicked, which was insane because like we talked about, we were like, yo, you're Jobin? And then just
like,
from there on, it just all worked. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy. There's how many people in the U.S.? Like 300 million. And out of those, there's only like I think there were like 500 or something on there. Maybe at the time like 300, but now it's like grown a little bit.
Less than 0.1% of the population. Like less than 0.0001% of the human population.
Yeah. And we're in the same building, which is crazy because like you first showed up, I was like, I can't tell if that dude's like 15 or if he's like 24. And then you're like, yo, you trying to be part of this? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then we just clicked off top.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So
you were the only person in there that like I could tell was grasping like the same way I was. You were always trying different things and trying to learn. And there's other people that do that, but that was just the instant connection I felt was like, I see you were trying to improve in the same way I was trying to improve. Yeah,
and I mean, like, not everyone's there for the same reasons, right? So, like, if someone doesn't grind the same way, that's perfectly fine. Like, I get, like, there's hobbyists out there that just do jiu-jitsu for a side hobby, which is great. Like, do that, you know what I mean?
Because, like,
if you don't want to, I mean, besides your joints and stuff, but, like, if you don't want to compete, that's fine.
Besides arthritis.
But, besides, like, your shoulders, knees, and back and neck and all that. But anyway, like, if that's what someone wants to do that, but like there is a different energy and a different aura to people that are like, let's get busy, like let's get down.
And we got busy. We got so down.
Yeah, for real. Like it was right away.
We taught each other striking until like I eventually moved on to Rufus Sport.
And then I went to my boxing gym and then we just kind of collaborated ideas. And then after that I left. But I mean, I feel like you can see in my clips compared to the old clips. It's like
for sure, both of us. It was like it's so bad to watch. It's so
I literally can't even watch our first sparring session because it was so terrible.
It makes me cringe. Progression is such a crazy thing, and the rate at which we progress the rate at which everything progresses at. Like with me, I noticed with you, this is our 9th episode. Like this isn't even the 10th episode, and I already feel like production has gone up immensely.
Yeah, shout out Ryan.
Shout out the GOAT himself.
Yeah.
Production, conversation, the way that I'm able to speak, and just I don't know, I feel like everything just gets better. Fitness, like progression is such a crazy thing because you control it. I feel like
it's all in your hands. The only person stopping you is you.
Like, you know why I feel like I've progressed the fastest out of anything in MMA is because I worked the hardest at MMA. Like, it's where you put that energy and that time into, you directly get out what you put in.
Yeah, there is no like, there's no cheat codes. There's no like you have to put in the work, and if you put in more work, you're gonna get out more results, right? So, like everything I do is in this little bubble of MMA and martial arts and training. Like whether that be why I'm like I don't lift weights because I love it, right? Like I do, and I would do it whether I was doing MMA or not, but I do it because it suits my MMA training. Like it's what I need to do to excel in that area. I wouldn't do it if I didn't need it. And then like what I eat is because I'm training. Like what I watch is because I'm training. Like I watch all the fights I can, like all that kind of stuff. Like everything is encompassed by that. And I think that's why I've progressed at the rate I have, because my life is surrounded by it, which some people are like, that sucks, but I love it.
Yeah,
like I go crazy for it.
People that don't have that burning desire and that burning passion don't get it because they've never felt it.
It keeps me awake at night.
Yeah.
Like I sit there and I have trouble falling asleep. I can sleep once I fall asleep, but like falling asleep is just so hard for me. But like I sit there at night and I just think about it nonstop. I'm like, what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that? And it's like, it drives me more because then in the morning I'm like, gotta go get my stuff done. So I don't think if something doesn't keep you up at night, the thought of it.
Yeah, you need something to occupy your mind. Like for me, it was MMA. It would keep me up thinking about it, right? Now it's, okay, clothing designs. How can I make the brand better? How can I make the podcast better? How can I make myself better? And if you don't have something that you're always thinking about wanting to improve, to me, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you should have something that you want to improve at, anything.
I think the purpose of life is so open to interpretation to each person. So, like, if someone's purpose of life is this and mine is MMA, like, who am I to tell someone that that's not right?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'm sure there's people that despise fighting in any form, and they're like, it's just disgusting. It's just violence. It's just this. And it's like, that's fine if that's what they think, but that's my purpose for existence, right?
Mm.
So, like, if someone says their purpose for existence is X, Y, and Z, I'm like, dope. I'm glad you found that, because I know people that don't have that, and it hurts me to see, because I want everyone to have that kind of thing.
I agree with that in, like, where everybody's could be different, but I also feel like there's sort of a general principle of finding your happiness, and your happiness is what's different to everybody. But I think if you're not happy, then you're sort of wasting your time. And I know that there's things that keep people from being happy, but there's always something you can improve on and something that can bring you happiness. And you just might not have found it now. You might not have found it now. There's something out there that is waiting for you to just grab by the balls and run with it. And I think once you find that and you finally get that passion and that reason, like you feel like you were put here to do that, then it's over.
You have to look for it too.
Yeah.
Like, people they're like, when's it gonna drop on me?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works. And favor fortunes, or what's the saying? Whatever. Basically, if you do stuff, you're more likely to have good things happen to you, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
yeah.
Fortune favors the bold.
That, yeah. Sorry, I have CTE, so. But yeah, exactly. So that, like, it took a lot for me to go to my boss and say, I'm leaving. I can stay for this long. And then I'm moving across the country, and I'm leaving all my friends, and I'm leaving all these cool things that I have going on, because I'm going to chase this dream. I'm going to pursue this seriously, because if I don't, it'll haunt me. And that took a lot of balls from me, because I'm not a spontaneous person. I like schedules and I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So doing that and then having it work out for me and be the best decision I've made in a very long time proves to me, favor fortune's the bold. So
Just having that dream is important too. Like, having a dream to begin with in the first place that's the first step, is just knowing what you want, or the idea of what you want, and just starting. You have to just start.
God. When people are like, I should have worked out before I came to jiu-jitsu. Like, no.
Yeah.
Go to jiu-jitsu. It'll get you into shape. You have to start.
Yeah.
And everyone starts at a different spot, right? So, like, you started differently than I started, right? So, like, I guarantee when you started, you were more athletic than I was when I started, because I'm not naturally athletic at all. So, like, we started at different spots, but we're still going up, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if I decided, I want to get into shape before I start jiu-jitsu, I probably never would have started jiu-jitsu.
For sure. It's just go. Just grab it. It's something I've been, like, so good with lately is I was thinking about starting a clothing brand. Boom, I started it.
Yeah, you're like, let's go. Let's get it done.
I wanted to start a podcast, started recording an episode. Wanted to start lifting more. Boom. And obviously there's going to be thought into it and, pros and cons, vice versa, all this different stuff, right? But ultimately, if you just start, you will be so much farther in a year than if you were to wait that year trying to improve first and then you start. Just start and just keep progressing.
So it's just a matter of going. And I think that's also just people being afraid of failing and, like, being like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, who cares? I mean, granted, you got to be careful, like, when you're weightlifting and stuff, like, knowing what you're doing.
Yeah,
but
don't go and rip 650 off the ground.
There's an infinite amount of information out there as far as weightlifting goes. And, I mean, there's a lot of garbage out there where people are just trying to get money, and they're like, pay $500 for this workout program that is absolute dog.
V-shred.
Yeah, like, stuff like that. It's just like, yeah. But, I mean, that's how they market it. But, yeah, I mean, you just have to go. And when people are like, well, I don't know how to, I'm like, yeah, I don't think anyone who did it for the first time did, but they started, and you have a phone which has, like I said, unlimited information on it.
Experience. Yeah. Take your favorite music artist and go listen to their first songs ever recorded. You're going to be like, I hate this.
Yeah, it's not good.
I hate this guy, right? And it's like, just getting the experience. You learn as you go. That's what's so important, is you learn from the experience, like I said earlier. And if you don't start, you don't get that experience to learn.
Yeah,
what are you expecting to learn if you don't experience it?
Yeah, Adesanya wasn't born a champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, his first fight, he wasn't this good. He had to get those, like he had to start and get those experiences, like you said, to get this good. So that's a key thing, you know what I mean? Like, and being okay with not being like the best right off the bat. Like, yeah, there's people that are always going to be better than you. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So
you just have to do, like, me and Ryan were talking the other night, and we were talking about addictions and we were talking about a porn addiction and
that's tough. That is tough.
Not that either of us have the porn addiction, but
no.
What? But no, on a serious note, we were talking about different addictions, drugs, alcohol, porn, and something Ryan brought up that has stuck with me was if you watch a YouTube video of somebody eating, you don't get full. Like, if you look at a picture of food on your phone, you're not fulfilling the hunger. And I think that is just like, go eat, go start. Just go
start making your plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also when someone else, like, what was I saying? Yeah. When what someone else eats doesn't make me shit either, which is basically saying like someone else's success doesn't equal my failure. That is like kind of the same concept. So, but yeah, addictions are a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, I'm not perfect, like I said, so I have my addictions as well. But yeah. I'm glad I don't fucking vape and are addicted to alcohol and all that stuff. Dude, the people I know that vape, oh my, every week, dude, this is my last pot. This is my last bottle of juice. This is my last this. And I'm like, I feel bad because I'm like,
I'm hoping somebody is listening to this right now and they know exactly who they are.
And they're literally like,
I'm going to stare into the camera while I'm saying it. Okay? Listen right now. Stop vaping. Okay? Anybody who's listening that vapes, okay? Stop. It is dumb. It is stupid. It benefits you this much, okay? It benefits you in absolutely no way.
Zero.
Society tried to make it look cool, and it worked for a couple years, okay? People are starting to get on. You got me? Now keep listening. The dumbest thing you will ever do is get an addiction to vaping. It's different if you're already addicted to cigarettes and you're using it to cut out cigarettes, okay?
Yeah, that's whatever.
But if you are 18 years old and under, and you're at college, any age, and you don't need it and you're doing it, fuck you, man. Like, straight up. It's so dumb.
I see people fucking shake trying to quit. And I'm like, it's like, and I mean, like, I personally, like, I'm not into smoking weed, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, when high-level athletes and people that use it for a good purpose I'm like, dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your thing. Yeah, it's a tool. And, like, they earn it as well. So, like, I think it's important, like Sugar always talks about it, like, it's important to earn it, especially when you're under the age of, like, 25, when your brain isn't fully developed. Yeah. But, like, when people use it as a tool, that's dope. I think that's cool.
You can't use alcohol as a tool.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work as well. That's more just like a...
You can't use porn as a tool.
Yeah.
You can't use gambling. I mean, I guess you could make money gambling, but that also starts your
shout
addiction.
Shout out Danny Bills, Dan Bilzerian. But,
shout out mybookie.ag.
Yeah.
Code Dom at checkout.
Yeah, literally. But, like, vaping to me is just, like... It's just gross, man.
It's like disgusting.
When I see people vaping, I'm like, that's so whack.
Especially, there's kids now that are in 7th grade, 8th grade.
It's sad. That
are literally ruining their lives, destroying their bodies. That's not just to look cool. Like, and it doesn't look cool. It doesn't. It's a mechanism to feel like you're fitting in, and you're not. You're fitting in to a bad thing.
Yeah.
Why not stand out and be your own person and be the leader that says, no, let's not do this. No, let's not ruin our lungs, ruin our body, put this shit into our body when we're 12, 13 years old. Like, be different. Don't fall into the societal norm, and be different, and it'll benefit you so much more in the long run.
Well, it's got to be tough, too, like, especially now, like, kids get on the bus, and then everyone in the back, like, all the seniors and stuff are vaping, and they're like, oh, so that's what we do? Like, that's what's up? Like, dude, when I first got into school, I was like, dude, I would never smoke weed. And then I tried it. I was like, that's cool. And then I realized I was like, I am not the weed kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, and I used to drink with my friends and stuff, like nothing crazy, obviously, but like on the weekends we'd drink. And then I was like, I don't enjoy this at all. Like, it's just not my thing. And if it's people's things, that's whatever. But like, I mean, vaping literally is just, there's like, they're like, oh, I get dizzy for a couple seconds. It's kind of sick.
And
like,
there's also there's not even a social benefit. Like with alcohol, alcohol's worse than vaping in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it straight up murders people.
But it's hard. I I would be stupid to say there isn't a social aspect to it, because there is. There's,
Yeah, like
hey,
you
let's
can go
go
drink with friends.
Let's
and
go
stuff.
grab a drink, okay? There's never, hey, let's go vape. Like,
Well, dude, there's like the hookah bars and shit.
Yeah.
People are like, yo, let's go smoke. Like, that's
fine, but there's no, hey, let's go Juul. Like,
yeah, no, it's just
have you seen the Theo Von has this skit about the Juul, and it's like the funniest. Me and my dad laugh about it constantly because it's like the funniest skit, and it's just so dumb. Like, there's never, hey, let's go out and Juul tonight.
yeah,
Like,
no, it's just whack. And
It
it's
is.
like, and I mean, like with alcohol and stuff, the cat's out of the bag. Like you're never putting that cat back in the bag.
Yeah.
Prohibition, man. They
I was gonna say,
tried.
they
And
tried,
That didn't
and it
go well.
boomed.
Yeah. So I mean, like cat's out of the bag. You're not putting that back in. I don't really care too anyway. Like when people drink, I'm not like, hey, fucking stop, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if like one of my friends is an alcoholic, I'm like, yo, maybe we should chill. But I don't really take problems with that. But like vaping, especially with like younger kids that you're talking about, like it's not always that they were like, I'm gonna go vape. It was like everyone around them does.
Yeah.
And like when you're that age, you're literally conditioned by the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like with your parents too, like if your parents smoke 2 packs a day, you're influenced, you know what I mean? But in saying that, I think this is super important too. You have a conscious choice. So like I know people in my life that are super influential that smoke a lot and drink a lot, but that shows me why I shouldn't. So I have a choice whether I do the right thing or the wrong thing, and it's a very conscious choice.
Yeah.
So when people do the wrong thing, it's like, that sucks, but you did have that choice, you know what I mean? And like I know some people are in different situations, so they don't necessarily have that choice, but I mean, it's tough. And I think making the right choices is super important.
And I do also think that you have to make the wrong choice a lot of times to come to the right choice.
Yeah.
I think you have to try things for yourself to see, because curiosity is never going to go away. And
Yeah.
at some point you have to, this is a hard subject to talk about, because it's like, you don't want to try everything because there's some stuff.
Yo, do meth one
Yeah,
time. I swear it's actually kind of dope.
like literally, like I'm curious as to what meth feels like, but
Yeah.
don't try. You know what I mean though? But like,
Yeah.
curiosity is definitely a tool, and it's also a setback. So I think you have to sometimes experience the bad thing. Sometimes get in trouble. Sometimes do that thing you feel like you shouldn't, just so it'll make you understand the right decision so much more. And I've had personal experiences with that where I thought I wanted something, I had that something, I didn't want that something, and then
Crazy. Yeah.
and,
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. But like
Chill.
that, it's kind of it's the same thing like with overbearing parents, right? Like they're like, you could never do this, and that kid gets the opportunity, and they're like, let's do it all at once. Like let's do it. So like loosening the reins a little bit and being like, these things are out there, and you can choose to do them. We just like want you to do it safe, kind of thing. It's like in that kid's mind, they're like, oh,
yeah.
maybe I shouldn't do it because it's not a good idea. Like I can if I want to. Like when someone's like, don't do this, you're immediately like, I'm going to fucking do that, and I'm going to do it as soon as I can type of thing. So, but yeah, like having that curiosity and being able to live and learn.
And I'm super blessed for my parents too, because they have that mindset of like, if a parent cuts off completely everything, they're going to want to do that thing so much. They're going to spike their curiosity so much more. They're doing the literal opposite of what they want to happen. So, my parents have always been, they pretty much let me do what I want to an extent, but to experience, because it's like I said, without experience, what are you going to know what's right and wrong for you specifically?
Yeah, exactly. Your parents, like, shout out your parents, bro. They're pretty dope. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I moved out of my parents' house at 16 just because like stuff kind of wasn't working out.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, I still have the most love in the world for my parents, but like it just wasn't it fully. In saying that, like, my mom does everything she can for me. She's an angel, but it just wasn't working, so I had to kind of leave, and I moved in with my friend and his parents, and they kind of became my parents too, and they definitely helped me, like, because they weren't really my parents, so they couldn't tell me what to do, so I could go do whatever I wanted to.
Yeah.
But they were kind of like, look, we know this isn't, like, we're not in charge of you. I mean, they could be like, you got to be home by this time because you live here, but they're like, we can't tell you what to do outside the house, but you might not want to do that. And and that's where I'm staying at right now. They like still care for me, and like it's the dopest thing ever. And they were like, you should probably not do these things because it's the wrong choice. And a lot of times I went, I'm going to do it anyway because I'm an asshole and I'm stubborn. And then I ended up learning. And we have a joke around the house, like, I always have to learn the hard way because someone tells me the easy way and I go, no, I'm going to do it the hardest way possible.
Yeah.
And then I end up learning. And it's like, it's the same concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but experience, live and learn. It's the main point of that whole story.
Yeah, for sure. I would say we hit some good points. Yeah. Insecurity, experience, live and learn. Mike Lee's getting decapitated.
I knew that was coming. But
yeah, besides that, thank you, Preston, for coming on.
Oh, hell yeah. Shout out Ryan. Man, killed it.
Yeah.
Kills it always. Sick. Yeah. And then big things coming up for my boy Dom, so watch out. Big things coming for Ryan always. Big
things coming from Preston. So
yeah,
decapitations,
we're all
executions.
Upwards. Let's go.
So yeah, that was episode 9 of the MindTalks podcast with Preston Gregory, featuring voice memos from Ryan himself over there. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next week.
Peace out.